Back once again in Ultimate Finesse, Muscle Finesse in Swansea, Llan Samlet, doing our thing. Hypertrophy, strength, conditioning, size work for the quads. We kicked off with, and this was a pre-exhaust, nothing OTT though, but progressive on last session, and that was 6 repetitions upset for this leg extension. Nautilus hits the spot directly. I tend to get an even more of a deep contraction by pointing the toes backwards and squeezing, trying to isolate in my mind the vastus lateralis on the outside and even the vastus medialis, trying not to hit the bottom. So as soon as we get up 1 inch where the stopper hits the rubber, hold and go again, ease that throttle. Upset is exactly that. We put 10 on, we put another 10 on, we match 6 reps, another 10, 6 reps. Keep going so forth till you get to the point of positive failure, and then try some forced reps. That is enough for this week, for this moment, for the point we're in, coming away from strength and power slightly. The next month or so, we have decided we're going to be in May, hitting a powerlifting meet, but we're still looking to intensify, increase weight, increase resistance, and make these sessions a lot harder to get general strength, size and thickness back in the quads before possibly between 8 and 12 weeks out kicking back with our powerlifting program, again hopefully retaining most of our strength so that we can start that program off nice and gradually, slowly drop out the hypertrophy work until the final 4 weeks pre-competition powerlifting. We're doing all power-based stuff, but we want some size back in the quads and we need some sweep. Took it up to 5 plates. Look at that, it's a slow squeeze top, contract and release, but control every rep. The repetition does not suffer, so therefore the set doesn't suffer, and we still take it to positive failure. There's no need for me at this moment in time, which we will do down the line to intensify, is to get a spot to do 5, 6, 7, 8 forced reps, a drop set, do it again, another drop set, and maybe a flushing set of 50 plus reps to end it all before moving on to the leg press. But today, this was progressive on last time. We ended on 6 plates, we went to failure, we had a few partials near the end, then we went on to leg pressing. Likewise, ditto for leg press. We added 1 set extra of leg press in between. So we've got that rep cadence, 1, 2 down, squeeze to the heels, back up, but do not lock out. So there's an extra set being put in there, plus the top set was a little heavier. I think we're approximating around 400 kilo on the sledge for the top set. We're not using any knee assistance at this point in time, like wraps or sleeves. They will come into fruition the heavier we get, but for the time being, I'm getting a good response from doing them this way. So we add a little bit more layer by layer, week by week, until we do get up to the bonkers level. Some people think I'm bonkers, but I just think I'm freaks. We're also trying to do the heavy stuff too. That's the hard part, but it's not, because we're phasing this sort of style back in, and then we'll phase the power stuff back in within about 4 or 5 weeks time. So trying to get the best of both worlds. I come as far down as what we can see there, which is not as I would fully deep a squat, but to the point where my low back starts to arc and starts to lift off the pad. That is counterproductive. That is contraindicative of health and safety, integrity for the knee, the hips, everything. See, we keep these reps, if anything, a little faster on the movement up the concentric and control that lower in the eccentric, so every fibre is getting strained. Speaking of strains, the 260 we squatted 4 days back for a nice single. Put a minor strain on the rectus femoris right in the middle, and therefore we were very careful with weight selection and time and attention today, rather than going all out gung-ho and tearing the joint up. This was closing in with a sled weight on approximately 350, 400 k combined, but no locking out, controlled eccentric, and today 20 reps. We didn't need to do drop sets, we didn't need to do any extras. We will be adding them in as the time of sessions go by, as the weeks and months pass, so that it becomes almost unbelievable but you can't switch that on overnight, or you shouldn't need to, in order for you to adapt and make each session that much better in terms of quality and intensity than the previous. We dropped in and finished up with the squats, kept the reps right down with these. All the work was done before it. Quads were slightly blown out, so we just had a feeler to see what we could do with a lot of pause reps. Worked our way up to 220, paused in the hole. The reason being I did 220 is 260 4 days back went nicely. Instead, we slowed that 220 down. We held it in the hole slightly and we came back up. We broke in the slingshots for the first time on 260 knee wraps. Today, I wrapped them around 8 times, and that was 3 meter long. I'm sure I can get 12 revolutions of when they're fully comp spec standard, when they're fully broken in, and therefore a lot more rebound. So I only used them today to break them in. Didn't get a lot of rebound out of them, but put them on for that case. 3 plates. Then we went up to 190 for a nice feeler. Then 220, then back down to 190, which is side on for some reason. The fucking camera. This is a 190, those blacks are 10s. As it happens, the greens are 5s. Normally the opposite way around, but that's the way they are. Welsh on the back by nature, Welsh by beast. So we just slowed it down. Knee wraps not full tightness, but kept a nice tight form in the squat, because I'm looking for 270 or 280 for a single very shortly, possibly in the next 3 to 4 months. 3 times body weight. This is side on, unfortunately. We kept them into the point. We pulled all kit off. Did them totally raw. 190 again. Relatively easy, but again, it's all about keeping these in there, doing them at the right time, and when the time is right, which is going to be, who I say, early January, mid-Feb, we're going to then start putting in big heavy ass numbers in and start working our way back up the ranks. 5 of these, and then we finished up with some calves, seated calf, bilateral hammer strength, leg flexions, extension flexion of the ankle. We did finish up then with very heavy little rest, seated for the soleus part of the calf, the bottom fan shape. Didn't film that actually today, but we did get some decent work done. Only 3 leg exercises, but we have done more sets, a little more weight, a little more volume every single session. Next leg session, possibly 5 days, we go back slightly heavier depending on the strain. We do more power-based stuff, but nowhere near what I will be going up to, just to keep that explosive element in it, to keep the technique, to keep the form tight. And possibly once every 8 to 10 days we'll come back and do this sort of session, maybe add in a further exercise next time, like walking lunges with the goldy looking chains, the stinky looking veins. But no good doing it if we're going to cheat, so therefore we need to add more sets and reps to the quality of the 3 exercises first before adding a 4th. Anyway, this is PT Welsh signing out of Ultimate Finesse, where I'm operating PT sessions. I've got availabilities all week. Come down, come and get your gains on. Comp preps, I've just begun a few of them too. We're taking on online comp preps and face to face. I'll see you shortly. Muscle Finesse, PT Welsh. Booyah!